What's up, y'all? And welcome back to AAB TV, also known as Authentically RGB TV. Well, that's the only way that I know how to be. And we are back for another Abbott Elementary recap. So let's get into the video. All right, y'all. Excuse my, the darkness. I'm not in the car today. I'm not in the studio today. But nevertheless, I'm here with the video. So let's push through, shall we? So, we open up with Jacob sending a message to Mr. Johnson, and throughout the carrying out of the message, things get mixed up and misconstrued, and Mr. Johnson ends up coming up to Jacob's classroom in a mariachi band outfit, and all he ever asked for was keys. And I was just like, everybody got Jacob's message just so totally messed up. So again, we are at school. Mother's Day is coming up, and Barb is letting us know that she always makes a big to-do about Mother's Day at Abbott. Everybody is decorating the hallways with cute little crafts and homemade cards and pictures and thank yous to moms and all of that stuff. So she's walking through, she's admiring them. Like she said, she just makes a big to-do about it. And we also learned that, she lost her mom a few years ago, and that's another reason why she honors Mother's Day and holds it so near and dear to her heart. And so as we go throughout the day, we're hearing everybody's plans for Mother's Day. We got people going to Barb's house for brunch with her family, which is a tradition. And some other people, say that they are going to a drag queen brunch at the local, spot, the bar that they go to. And how they are just, spending that holiday, the festivities or whatnot. So in the midst of their conversation, Ava cracks a joke to Janine, or about Janine, after we learn that Janine and her sister have different fathers, and she makes a joke that a certain celebrity is Janine's dad, or could be Janine's dad, who is also another Philadelphia native. And it gets Janine to, thinking and guessing, because she had heard her mom before said that she knows this certain person. And that whole conversation came up because Melissa was talking about all her brothers and sisters that she has, and one who has a different dad. He had a different name than everybody. And so again, that's how the conversation got brought up. And Ava, just being Ava, she's always cracking jokes and never really thinks that what she says is gonna stick with somebody. But as we see throughout the episode, that actually does happen. And so then we see a conversation that Jacob and Ava are having about the annual, end of the year field trip that we know Abbott, the entire school, not just the second grades and first grade, that they go to, but the entire school, they always have this big trip at the end of the year. And Jacob is trying to figure out how he can go about funding that, what he can do to get the money for the field trip so that he will not disappoint the kids. And it's something that he's really adamant about doing, but he finds out through Ava that she wasn't able to get any funds and help. And she's like, figure it out, do what you got to do, because again, he doesn't want to disappoint all the kids. And there was even a little girl on there who, she was so cute though, and she was like, this school always just, what she say, that never seems to disappoint me. And so of course, like I said, Jacob doesn't want to disappoint any of those kids, so he's gonna go and do what he can to get the job done. So as Melissa's walking through the hallway and admiring all of the arts and crafts and things or whatever, and talking to Barb, they spot Mr. Eddie, aka Greg's, little pictures on the wall. And it's not the entire class, they're not super colorful and crafty with the flowers and the hearts. They're just like, here's a picture of my mom, love you, thanks. And they kind of both look at each other like, what's going on here? And so they both decide to go in to his room in the middle of him teaching his class and ask to speak with him in the hallway. And they ask him a couple of questions as to why, his student stuff just seems so super dry. And he lets them know that he actually just asked if the kids wanted to participate, they could. He didn't necessarily force it on them. And then Barb, of course, like I said, this is a major, holiday for her. And she is like, what's going on? Don't you want to show your mom that you love her? Don't you want the kids to, honor their moms? And it's a Mother's Day. It's a beautiful day, and da da da. And y'all, we found out that Greg's mom passed away when he was 9 years old. And I was like, wow. I did not know that. I don't remember him ever saying that. I know that he had like a weird type of relationship with his dad. But that could explain, why. We getting a little bit of the backstory of everybody as the seasons go along. And so, like I said, they find that out and they're both like, oh my gosh, very apologetic. And he's like, oh no, it's fine, and he talks about, what he does to celebrate Mother's Day, or what he does every year on Mother's Day, which is go to Top Golf and play golf or whatever. But Barb doesn't want him to do that anymore. She wants him to come, and so she tells Melissa that she's going to invite him, whether he likes it or not, to come to her family's house for the brunch. And she's going to take him up under the wing because she knows how it feels to be out here, without a mom and losing a mother. And that's why I said this episode was kind of like, oh my gosh, because I have a really good relationship with my mom, me and my sister both. And she had a really good relationship with my grandmother who passed away too. And it's just like, I couldn't imagine either, her not being here or us not being like super close. So it's like my heart goes out to, like I said, I have cousins and other people, that for people who no longer have their mom because they are special. But we also have a situation with Janine going on, again, like I said, about not having her father. We learned, like I said, with the conversation with Ava, that even though Ava made that joke, Janine doesn't know who her dad is. And she, thought about it from time to time, but never really got no straightforward answer from her mama, who's also, pretty flighty herself. And so again, Ava had put that bug in her hair that this certain celebrity could possibly be her dad. And like I said, she went along with that. And with that came a whole lot of other feelings that I was having. So let's get into it. So we see Janine, who is searching through the internet about this could be possibility of her celebrity father. And all the while, Jacob comes in and he's still going on about how to get funding for a field trip, and they're having a conversation with each other, but then again, it's like they're having their own conversations. And so they end up both just saying, you know what, I'm going to keep doing me, I'm going to keep on, Janine's doing her, Jacob's doing him, we'll come back and we'll, talk about all this stuff later. So Janine, like I said, she's on this quest to again, find out who her father was. And this was something that kind of touched my heart as well, because there are so many people who do not have relationship with their father. They do not know who their fathers are. And I, on the other hand, again, could not imagine not knowing who my dad was. And I don't know if I mentioned it, but like I said, my dad has been gone for almost 2 years. It'll be 2 years in December. And although we had our ups and downs, as, families do, but it's still like, I think that I am or have been very grateful to, actually know and see my father and grow up with him despite all the other stuff. But it's just like, for those people who, want that piece of them, that emptiness, that void that they have. And I was just thinking, about that as well, because of course, after Mother's Day, it's Father's Day. And it's like, for those who don't have a father. So it's like the same kind of like repetitive cycle. And it was just like, wow, like it was just, it was kind of a little bit heavy for me, or maybe it's just because I've just been in a mood, but it was a little bit heavy for me, in my brain too, as well. So like I said, Janine and Jacob are going about, trying to figure out and find answers to these little issues that they're having. And so in that particular time, after Jacob walks out, Janine does end up calling her mom, which to her surprise, her mom answers. So shout out to Taraji P. Henson, because she, of course, we all know she was, it was revealed that she was playing Janine's mom on the show. And so, she asked her a couple of questions about this celebrity. And she's like, oh, yeah, I knew him. I went to high school with him. And, yeah, we did have sex. And that just was like, made Janine even more like, oh, my God, it really could be a possibility. But in my mind, and it wasn't until the end of the show or the episode I was like, how could this person be her dad when they seem to be about the same age? But when it got to the end of the episode, we get the actual age of Janine, so it could been possible. But anyways, we'll get back to that. So anyways, like I said, Jacob, in the midst of their conversation, but not conversation, he notices that Janine, like I said, is looking at those pictures and is still stuck on what Ava said, and kind of like brushes it off like, oh, that's just Ava, she does that type of stuff. But to me, it was just like, that's why we have to be very careful about what we say and how we say things to people, because we never know what people got going on in their minds, what they got going on at home. And it's just like, it sticks with people, it can trigger people. So we gotta be careful. Gotta be a little bit more careful about what we say to people. So as the day goes on, Barb is looking for Greg because she wants to formally invite him to her family brunch. He's outside in the garden admiring his plants and, talking to him and stuff. And so she asked him, to come over, and he's like, sure. It's important to Barb. He said, I'm going to stop by. I'm going to fly by. I'm going to come and I'm going to say hello and I'm going to leave. Again, Greg is not a family super close, emotional, lovey-dovey, huggy type of person, and he didn't grow up with that. And so it kind of like, it makes him feel like uncomfortable. But because he loves Barb and cares about her, he says yes to the invitation, and she's excited about it. And so we go throughout the day, and again, like I said, Jacob is trying to get these funds for the field trip, and he ends up trying to get a GoFundMe, but ends up finding out that that at Abbott Elementary they no longer can get GoFundMes because of some crazy stuff that they principal been doing, and who, when he said something to her about it, she just blew it off, as Ava normally does, talking about, you don't know how hard it is to be a principal, you gotta do what you gotta do. And he's just like, oh my gosh, what am I gonna do? So Melissa tells him to go to the PTA meeting that they're having and that day or that evening, and just to voice his concern and get the help of the people, get the parents and the teachers involved, so that again, he won't disappoint these kids, and these kids will have something to look forward to by the end of the year. And also, Mel offers a way to help Janine to find out if this person is her dad, only because again, she has a brother who has a different dad than her and the rest of her siblings, and like she said, it drove him to, drinking and getting in trouble, not having that piece of him, not knowing who he was fully, because he didn't have that relationship with his dad, or he didn't know who it was. And because she loves Janine, and, she don't want to see her try to, go down that same path. She offered some help on how she can, get like DNA testing done for her or whatever. And so Janine is like ecstatic and happy about it. So at this PTA meeting, y'all, we see Tariq again in action, and Jacob comes up to him. He asks him for a favor, tells him what he needs or whatever, and he's like, I'm sorry, I can't help. We have no money. And Jacob's looking around like, what you mean you don't got no money? You got champagne, you got sushi, you got the man over here making sushi. Like, what's up with that? Don't you think you should be using those funds for the kids that to actually do things within the district? And he's like, you know what? It sounds good, but I'm trying to get everybody to want to be a part of the PTA. So of course, why not have good food and have something for them to look forward to come to for these meetings? And then once they do that, we're going to hit them with them donations. We're going to ask for that money. And by 2027, we're going to be all well and good. And Jacob's like, no, but we talking about right now, like before the end of the year. He's like, I can't help you. You want some sushi? And Jacob, just like, whatever. And scratches that idea, but he does taste that sushi. And Tariq was like, it tastes good, don't it? It tastes good, don't it? And so we jump to the brunch at Barb's house. And this is where everything starts to get a little bit interesting. So Greg arrives and Barb is excited. Melissa's already there. She, like I said, she knows what's happening. She knows Barb's family. And she's just, the whole time, she's just sitting back, kikiing and laughing and just like enjoying the awkwardness and the uncomfortable feelings that she sees clearly on Greg's face. So everybody, like I said, is lovey-dovey, huggy. She's introducing him to, family members that he has not met. But also to jump a little bit back to the beginning, remember when he dated her daughter Taylor, I would have thought that, the conversation about his mom would have came up then. Maybe he did tell Taylor. Maybe she just didn't relay the message to her mom. I don't know. But I thought that was like, I wonder why nobody knew that. But anyways, so he's there. Barb is excited. Whole time, Melissa's trying to do stuff for her. Her husband's trying to do stuff for her. And throughout the entire, beginning of the episode, everybody's like, what can I bring? What can I do for you, Barb? How can I make it easy for you to enjoy the brunch? She's like, don't do anything. I got it under control. I'm okay. And even when Greg gets there, people is trying to help her. People's pulling her this way, pulling her that way, and she's trying to be there for everybody or whatever. And so she gets, taken away because of something that was going on with a little baby at the house. So in walks Taylor with her new boyfriend, and she introduces them. And even the boyfriend is like, oh, come here, give me a hug. This is Greg. And he's just like, oh my gosh. And the whole time, like I said, Melissa's sipping her little wine or whatever she was drinking, and just living it up, just loving the extraness of Barb's family and the awkwardness of Greg all together. And he's trying to keep a straight face, and he's just so uncomfortable, and he really don't want to be there. But it was just like, wow. And so while all of that's going on, we got Erica, which is Janine's best friend, and Jacob and Janine at the bar, and they are at the drag queen brunch. And again, everybody's sitting at the table trying to enjoy themselves, but Janine is still talking about, who this celebrity guy is, and could it be her dad? Could it be not? And Jacob again is talking about the field trip stuff. And so Erica's like, come on, y'all, let's turn up, let's have a good time. It's Mother's Day, we're here, we're drinking. And then walks up Ava, and they're like, girl, what are you doing here? And so she says she's cool with some people and she's wanting to have a good time, so she stays and she sits with them. And again, she mentions, the fact that Janine's still on this whole celebrity father thing, and she's just like, girl, I didn't know my words, stuck with people like that. And I'm like, girl, you should know. We all should know. But anyway, so they're basically sitting there and they're trying to enjoy themselves, and Janine is waiting on these DNA results to see if this particular person is her dad. And Ava just still in her little carefree world. So then we go back to Barb's house where, they're about to sit down and eat, and she is praying at this particular time for Greg. And she has, lost her mom, so she knows that heavy feeling, the sadness and all that stuff of missing someone dearly, without even really digging deep into, how, or even asking how Greg felt about the situation. Has he dealt with the situation? Has he healed from the situation or whatever? And just where his mind was with the passing of his mom at such an early age versus now. And so she just assumes that he needs all of this super lovey-dovey attention, and everybody's praying over him. And like I said, her intentions are all good, but it's making him hella uncomfortable. And Melissa is there, going along with it, and she's telling him, just go along with it, it'll be over soon. And he's just like, you know what? I'm good. And he walks away, he leaves, and just like, I'm out of here. And then Barb follows after him. And he's like, he has this conversation with her, basically letting her know, like, yes, it's Mother's Day. I'm okay. This is your tradition. This is your family tradition, not mine. Mine is to go play golf and be alone, because all the fathers and everybody else is out trying to make the mothers happy on this day. So I have this place to myself. It's peaceful, it's serene, it's what I do. This is what I want to do. I having to continue to be reminded over and over today about the death of my mom. That's what's super sad, because again, Barb assumed that he was just down and out and he was sad, and to her, she wanted this day to honor mothers, but she didn't realize how that came across to him. And so, like I said, she just wanted him to feel better, right? She wanted to make him feel like, like she said, you need to be a part of a community, and you need to have X, Y, and Z happening so that you can feel better about, your mom not being here. And he's like, no, I'm okay. Like, this is not what works for me. And so he ends up leaving. And he thanks her for the invite or whatever. Like I said, lets her know, it's your tradition, it's not mine, and he leaves. She says that, going to Topgolf and being by himself is sad, but to her, not to him. Like I said, him being reminded that his mom is gone and everybody just being extra, that's what is making him sad, making him feel heavy, making him feel like it's a void. And like I said, we always want to be the people that help, be the people that are there for others. But a lot of times being there for others don't mean you have to fix the situation. It just means you're there to listen, and whatever they decide to do in their grief, whatever they decide to do in their situation, we just allow them to do that and allow people to let you in as they please, instead of trying to like jump on it, like I said, and fix the situation. And so like I said, everybody celebrates and grieves differently. And nobody is the same at that, right? So back at the brunch, Janine finally gets the results of the DNA. And of course, this celebrity is not her dad. She's bummed about it, but she was really hoping, with all this evidence and information that she found out from her mom, that she would actually get, that this person was her dad. But again, it was not. And everybody tried to, encourage her, give her this pep talk. And she seemed to say that she was okay, but in reality, she wasn't. She still had that void. She still had that person, her dad, missing. She didn't have that piece of her. All right. So once Barb finishes talking to Greg and he leaves, she goes back to the table, and everybody's praying for her. And now at this time, she seems like she's just not in the mood, and she ends up just walking away to the kitchen. Again, not vocalizing what is bothering her, what's wrong with her, but just trying to make sure everything is perfect. And so Melissa and her daughter Taylor have a conversation with her and let her know, like, this day is about you too. It doesn't have to be perfect. If you need a break, if you need help, just say that. We're here to do that for you. At this particular time, you need to go have a little moment to yourself. And she can't really say anything but agree. And so she does. And we learn from Barb that, like I said, pretty much the whole episode, she wanted everything to be perfect. She didn't want anybody helping her. She didn't want, anything to ruin this day, which she holds so near and dear to her heart. But like she said in her confessional, that a lot of times we put pressure on ourselves to be there for everybody, to be the strong one, to not let anybody in on how we're feeling. And at those times, it becomes very overwhelming until that person just bloops. And so she realized that, she was coming on too strong with Greg, and she wasn't allowing, her family in to her as well. And a lot of times people do that, just like I said, to protect themselves and to try not to think about things. So it was a lot of different takeaways from this episode that I felt just was near and dear to probably a lot of people's heart as well as mine. So back at the brunch, Jacob is buying everybody another round after, they found out the results of the DNA test. And he's there, he's waiting on the drinks, and one of the drag queens, that were hosting the show, came up to him, basically talking to him, asking him did he enjoy the show. And she sees he got some little cash in his hand, and she's like, I need another one of them tips. And he's just like, here you go. And then she ended up saying something along the lines of, if you enjoyed this show, you should come see us at such and such park. It's a free event. And we'd love to see you there. And as soon as she said that, his eyes just lit up, and it was like a light bulb just went off in his head. And so he rushes off and he goes back to the table. He's like, I got an idea. The field trip issue is solved. So he tells him this idea of just taking the kids to this one particular park that's very popular in Philadelphia, and how, Tariq said that he could help him with getting chaperones from the PTA to be there with them, because again, it's the whole entire school that's going, not just their specific grades. And everybody seemed to be on board with it, but of course, because it's a popular park, they need to hurry up and make the reservation. And so he's like, how are we gonna make this reservation? What can we do? We got to get on it now. And then again, he has another aha moment. So he runs up on stage, and I'm like, what is he about to do? But even before that, I thought that the fact that, you know, he saw the people in the drag show brunch walking around getting the tips, I thought that one of his ideas was for him to dress up in drag. And I was going to be like, oh my gosh. But he didn't. He ran up on the stage, and you know, the host, you know, that told him about the park in the first place, she didn't know what was going on, but everybody started to booing him in the audience, and she's like, let's be united. And I was just like, oh, that was cute. But anyways, he decided to ask people in the audience if they would, you know, get on their phones and make these reservations in the name of Abbott Elementary. Then Ava gets to saying her spiel, and so does Janine, and then everybody's one big happy family, and everybody's helping. And now this field trip situation is solved, and he feels good about it, right? And again, after, you know, they have this pep talk with Janine, you know, while Jacob is doing all of that, they, meaning Erica and Ava, they let her know that dad or no dad, she's that girl. She made it. She succeeded. It's all right, you know. And though some people have dads, they're not always the best. And sometimes it is better to have an absentee father than a father that's neglectful, that's unreasonable, that's abusive, you know, like those type of things. Like, and that is a way to look at it. But again, I can sympathize with people who, like I said, have that void and just want to know. So Janine seemed to be okay. But she did say, you know, parents, you know, don't define who we are, whether they're in our life or not. But because of the parent, aka mom, that she has, who's, you know, super flighty and does her own thing and living her own life, and because she didn't have her dad in her life, you know, but she sees how her sister does have a dad and a stepmom that are close. All of these things that go on in her life have taught her to be able to stand alone. She's not alone, but she's standing alone, meaning she's learned to persevere and hold friendships near and dear. So there are a lot of people that I even know who do the same. And so again, like she said, parents don't define who we are. But she's due to all of these things happening, she's standing on her own, and she's doing the daggone thing, and she's made it, and she's okay with that. And I was just like, yay for Janine. So towards the end of the episode, we see Greg at Topgolf. And if you know what Topgolf look like, it's like different levels of where you can sit, and you know, it's open like concept, so you can, you know, hit the golf ball out into this big field and net area, whatever. And Greg, it just seems, like I said, very peaceful. It's what he's used to doing, it's his tradition. And up walks Barb, and he's like, look, I've already, you know, I don't want no more of the lovey-dovey stuff. I've already told you how I felt about it. Like, just let me be. But she comes and she apologizes to him and lets him know that, she understands his feelings. And Greg lets her know that he understands her feelings because his mom used to always want to make sure that everybody was okay and nobody was hurting and everybody felt included and everybody, you know, just felt loved. And Barb was like, well, she must have been a great woman. And he was like, yeah, she was. And so they reminisce about their moms together, and then they share, you know, views about how they felt about Mother's Day, and how, again, it's a day to recognize mothers, but it isn't the only day, and how even the smallest things on any just random day can remind them of their moms that are no longer there, like a certain kid making a silly face, or a certain smell, or something like that reminds them of them. And those are how they honor the lives of their moms and the relationships that they had with their moms. And I'm just like, oh my gosh. Again, missing family, period. Not just a mom, not just my dad, but just missing family, period. And how, you know, certain things that I see or hear, or music or anything like that, how it just like snaps you back into a time when they were still here. And how it's like you do grieve for them, you miss them, but at the same time you cherish the memories, the good times with them. You don't dwell on the fact that they're dead, or you don't dwell on the fact that they're no longer around and what they're going to miss, but you appreciate what they were here for and the things that they instilled in you. And I think that is a big thing that I wish a lot of people understood and a lot of people knew when it comes to the death of parents or siblings or aunts and uncles and grandparents or friends. And again, not to say that, your feelings of anger and, all that stuff don't matter, or that you can't feel those things. But the biggest thing and the biggest takeaway for me from this episode was just to cherish the people that you have while you have them, but also, know that, things happen for a reason. And also to know that, for your loved ones, the way that you honor them is to keep going and to do things differently. And as one of my friends, dads always says, if you live right, you're gonna see them people again. So again, they talk about those little things and all the things that matter, and help them to remember their moms, and the things that they enjoyed about their moms, and what they share in having a common bond in both, not having their mom, and you see that love there and that friendship there. And she's everybody's work mom. So I just love Barb. Like I said, she just wants the best for her little teacher babies, and that's love, right? So they both enjoy some much needed peace and quiet at Top Golf. They both have their own little sections. And then at the end of the episode, we see Janine having like a back and forth conversation with Mr. Johnson, and Ava's just off in the cut, listening, making comments as usual. And Janine is telling Mr. Johnson, the next time we go to the drag bunch, we promise we're gonna invite you. And Ava's like, girl, I told them to invite you. I told them to invite you. And Janine just rolls her eyes. But then her phone rings, and who could it be on the other end of the FaceTime is this celebrity dad that she thought she had. And she's like, oh my gosh, I can't believe you're calling me. And everybody runs, to see who's on the other end. And they're like, oh my gosh. And he's like, who are you? Why are you harassing me? Why are you, doing all of this stuff? And she explains to him, my mom is such and such. And she said that y'all, what did she say? Intercourse each other. And I thought that you could possibly be my dad. And this is the point where at the beginning I was like, how could that be? How old is she? But she said, 27 years old. So, you got to throw that in there to make it make sense. And so he was like, no, because I stay strapped. And then he's like, I don't want to talk to you no more. Is that Mr. Johnson in the background? What's up, Mr. Johnson? Or whatever. And that was the end of the episode. So, like I said, this episode was pretty neat. And again, just put into perspective some of the ways that people are out here living without fathers, without dads, due to without mothers, or just due to different circumstances, whether it be that they passed away, or they're just not there, or they don't know who they are. So and even just the relationship with teachers and students, and how Jacob was not going to be satisfied until he did what he said he was going to do for his kids and getting them that field trip. So that was the episode, y'all. I hope you guys enjoyed it as much as I do. I think there's like 3 more episodes, or maybe 4 more episodes of season 3 left to go. And so next week I will be back. And I hope you guys enjoy your weekend. I hope you guys have a wonderful Mother's Day, whether your mothers are in your life or not, whether they are have passed away. I send all my love to you all, and I hope you guys have a wonderful, 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 wonderful rest of your day. You don't have to watch, but you do, and I appreciate you. I appreciate you. I'll see you on the next one. Peace.